Ooh, wrong person to ask.
Yeah, because I'm not gonna lie to you. So I've started doing some research, and I've been finding a lot of things that has opened up my eyes, and I always wanted to do something to help men and teach other guys because as Kevin said, he was in the church. I grew up in the church. Quinton, Greg.
Did I say anything about church? I didn't say anything about church.
Well, if you say,
You
I also didn't hear anything about church, but okay.
Yeah.
Let's just go with it.
okay, so there again, I need to listen properly. So, was the youth group at church?
Let's leave things private, please. I don't want to speak about that funny underwear you have in your that you have in your cupboard there. Let's just keep
Okay,
it private.
let's keep it under wraps. Let me check. You just have to unmute yourself. Or you're all muted. You just also need to just open up your camera. But how are you doing, Quinton? How's things? How's the little one keeping you busy?
Very busy at the moment. So yeah, so things is every day you learn something new. So yeah, what can you say?
Or at least they push you to a different limit, you say.
Sure. Yeah, a new level every day. Every day is something. Every day is something new. So it's nice. It's a nice adventure. I'm enjoying this adventure
any
now.
plans for number 2? You must know that's the next question that everyone asks.
Yeah, something we did talk about, but yeah, it's we'll see how things go. Planning, and sometimes I feel like planning puts pressure.
Look at that, bro. Look like a pedophile sitting in the dark. Maybe I'm getting nervous.
How do I get the background? These are all fancy with background. How's it, Quinton?
Hey, Kevin, how you doing? My hiking buddy.
Hi, how do I get the background here, please, man?
If you're doing it from your phone.
Okay, now it says, okay, I'm going to choose a virtual background. That's fine.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Where did you go for the virtual background again? Because went to, what was it?
At the bottom to start video.
Video, and then just keep the arrow and they'll give you the option there.
Oh, choose background. I see, yeah. What is Greg saying?
You guys hear me clearly?
Greg is saying to give him a few minutes. And Michael is still saying sending. He's sending me a message for I don't know how long now.
Fine.
Yes, sir. You probably when it comes to these type of teething issues, it's probably will be part of the game.
Yeah, no problems.
Yes, sir. Please don't put the same background as me. Kevin has a tendency to copy me. He hasn't tried that yet to join Liverpool as yet. We're just hoping for that for that final copying to start because
I don't know why he hasn't. That's something.
Yeah, there's a certain level of arrogance that they have now, seeing that they got some false guns and some actual firing power there at their team. But
they're still firing blanks. They're still firing blanks and blaming refs. What's different?
Yeah.
No, I watch the games, I watch the highlights, and then I listen to commentary, and I'm like, okay. So yeah, now they want Ole out. That's weird. They must make up their minds.
Let me just see. I see that I don't know what's happening with I did send in the right number. Let me just make 100% sure. 57. Let me, because I copied everything when I just sent it 578-352-4307, and I sent him two FK UX and capital X.
Yeah, but capital K and a capital X. The end.
Yeah,
name must be.
But Kev, you must have your PO. You must put on the light there, man.
Yeah, I had to remove my cover from my camera. I insisted.
Yeah, no, you call
My
me
camera's
on a
never
live
open on my
chat
laptop.
and who we talking to? Oh my word.
Oh no.
You see,
Oh
even the
Can you
photo
stop?
doesn't
no.
the photo doesn't want to even put him in there.
Oh
He looks like Phantom of the
no.
Opera
Yeah.
at the moment.
Come
That is
on.
not gonna work. At least was a theater of dreams at home, so you know it kind of like corresponds.
Yeah. It's just dreams now.
That better.
Yeah, now you put yourself up, Laker. So yeah, no,
Why
you obviously when it comes to the channel, for me, one of the
Yeah.
things that I wanted to create is I've been, you know, when it came to this COVID story, a lot of people and men, I saw everyone's kind of like drawing to their own corners and doing what they need to do for their families and so on. But obviously, during this type of time, if I think of it from a common sense level, the level of pressure on men now, when it comes to providing and doing the basics in keeping things going at home, the pressures financially, the pressures in, you know, being that person that they're supposed to be for their family, and wanting to be that guy that obviously that his family can depend on, whether that is a husband, a brother, a nephew, you know, an uncle to your sister or your brother's kids, whoever it is. All those type of pressures is kind of like it's not spoken about, but men clearly feels it because, you know, at times there's a lot of time that men, when it comes to relationships, they delete themselves. You'll probably, if I do say Xing themselves or killing themselves, I refer to it as deleting, because if I do put the conversation on YouTube, then they become a bit sensitive and block certain content if certain things is okay. There's Mr. Kim. Azay. So yeah, I thought it would be great just to have a conversation and put something to like this together. I'm obviously going to do it more with a lot of the guys that's got channels as well, but because I know you guys and I kind of like know, you know, where you guys you know where your headspace is when it comes to the way you guys be go about dealing with things. It was interesting to see, you know, a lot of us maybe haven't connected in a while. Mr. Kim,
Azad,
Joburg in the house.
Hey
Good
brother
evening, good
Kim.
evening.
Hey Greggy, how you doing?
I'm well, man. Sorry, I tried my PC, but I don't know what the hell is going on here.
Nah, I didn't use my phone today. I thought I'll use my laptop. It's just better.
And so the password
But
was
that
correct.
happens.
No, I tried the password on the PC. It's still not working. But on the phone, it's no problem.
So Quinton,
Okay.
it's not just me. It's not just me with technology. We're all learning. We are all learning.
Yeah, I don't know. We're all learning. There's not a platform to push the brothers down. You don't push the brothers down.
Stanley,
The customers not here for that.
I like I said, I was trying to put out
Only the
use
support.
my
Only
second
they
phone.
support Arsenal and United. Then you maybe, you know, you throw something on the side there. That's the only time, you know, you do that. But other than that, you don't push your brothers down. Don't do
So
that.
let's do that first. When it comes to just to get to find some common ground to start with the call tonight. Just to
Okay.
clarify so that we can know the battle lines when it comes to which club you support in the Premier League. That's number one, because that's just gonna give each other, you know, an upfront picture of who you are and how you think. And if you are someone that's in a winning mindset or a loser's mind.
Wow.
But mind
I
you,
do me a favor.
Wow, man.
yes,
I do me
Kevin.
a favor. I didn't hear a thing you said. You need to increase your mic volume, please.
You heard everything else, but all of a sudden that wasn't something that you couldn't hear at all.
He's throwing shade.
Yeah, I just hear mumbo jumbo. Mumbo jumbo.
I don't know what's happening with me. So in the house we've got you guys can just introduce yourselves. Kevin and Quinton knows each other so from the hype we did the
So
last
it's just
time.
Greg.
Yeah, so
Greg is an old friend of ours.
obviously the three of us is in Cape Town, but just give a quick intro as to who you are and where you're from. Kim,
Okay.
if you want to
Was
go,
me? Okay.
go for it.
Okay. I'm Greg. I've known these guys for some time already. We grew up together, so yeah, same church. So we've been friends for some time. I'm in Johannesburg. I've been here for probably almost 15 years already. I moved here when I was a bit young, and I'm still enjoying it. So I don't think I'll ever move back. I've established myself. There's a lot of growth potential here. I miss the family, but yeah, it is what it is. That's me in a nutshell.
Cool, man.
Okay, cool.
From your end, Quinton?
I'm Quinton, yeah. I grew up in Cape Town, still in Cape Town. Love, work, raising a family, so taking it one day at a time.
Yeah.
You know these guys, know Heinrich, I know Greg for as long as I can remember. In puberty hits, that's the friends you have, and I can't believe we're still sitting together. Yeah.
I think at Sunday school, eh?
Oh yeah, let's go back to Sunday school. Wow.
Yeah, man. For me, when it comes to the channel, a lot of people obviously have created some content now to give an idea as to what the channel is about. And for me, for the audience as well, is that I grew up with these guys, and I have an idea as to the way we were brought up and the way we've experienced living on the Cape Flats in Cape Town. But obviously, as you heard, we have Greg that's out in Johannesburg. Quinton has been in Cape Town as well. But we've all obviously, everyone is living their lives, and there's certain life experiences that we have that is different as the years go on because of the different type of routes that we've taken, and obviously location-wise. I was excited to have Michael that joined me on the call the last time on the call as well, because he is over in the UK in London, and to also have gotten his feedback and just his input as to giving that perspective as to what's happening over in the UK, and obviously his direct experience. But I mean, when it comes to living in the previously disadvantaged areas, there's a correlation as to the kind of experience that everyone has grown up in when it comes to maybe not having certain things when you grow up. And obviously, as a man now that you are aware of certain things that you've learned to get certain skills that you need to be successful. And as you are growing, I got to this point understanding that I tend to become a loner. And as I'm getting older now, I'm actually getting more and more comfortable doing things on my own. You guys know me. We always did things together. We were all over. And whenever it comes to connecting with each other, it's always a good thing to be able to blow off some steam and just connect with your friend that you know is going to understand where you're kind of coming from. So I was wanting to expand that experience to others and create more of a global plugin and kind of create this Manosphere paradigm network for men to be able to talk to each other. So when it comes to me and Quinton earlier, he got on earlier. Let me see if Kevin is trying to contact me here. If he's having issues again.
Let me just get my charger as well. Otherwise, I'm not going to survive.
Oh, now my laptop's plugged in. So almost fully charged, and then I can plug. Cool. Yeah, you were saying, yeah, so I was
because for me, I don't want to create this echo chamber. I am going to continue to, and one of the things that Greg has also challenged me, and I've taken that to heart. I mean, he knows me as being, or at least my best friend. I would say over these years, he knows me best and knows where to tell me, bro or mania, that approach is not going to work. So I always trust and appreciate his input. And one of the things he also said is, you know what, there needs to be a point where I have to be neutral in not obviously impressing myself on others. And it's something that I've grown from over the years because I always had that kind of need to be right. And I had to make sure to obviously
okay. It takes a big man to admit that, especially coming from, we all know how Heine can be. Nice.
No, yeah, I mean,
so Heine's saying it. I see at this growth. I see at this growth, because we now you are. So if I've remember tell my wife sometimes, if you don't know Heine, then you're gonna want to fight him, You all you need to do is just be like, okay, it's just Heine.
Yeah, no,
Let Heine speak.
I've learned that sometimes I at least not sometimes, but okay, Kevin is back. Let me just get him back into the room. I've learned that in my late 20s, I've learned there's a lot of opportunities that I could have had that would have taken me a bit further down the road if I got out of my own way. So that is one of the philosophies that I've adopted in my 30s. And there's a lot of things that I want to still achieve. And sometimes you put those markers for you want to do certain things and achieve certain things by 30. There's certain things you want to achieve by 40. And if you haven't achieved those things or and acquired whatever, as a man, you feel that you want to you need to get your heart in rat because you're only getting older and you are losing the how can I say, the energy or the fervor for life as you're getting older because you need to do things.
The mojo.
You're losing your mojo. But yeah, what do you guys
Absolutely.
think when it comes to the first question that I wanted to ask you? Like, okay, just before we start do that, Kevin, just introduce yourself as well, from as to who you are, where you from, and how you gonna know the rest of the guys.
Thanks, Hein. So, yeah, I know Hein from EXL because we've worked together there
Hey,
before COVID. Sorry, did I mention client information? I'm not supposed to.
he meant he wants to excel in life. That's what he meant.
Okay. Yeah, so Kevin, my surname is Williams. My background is coming from Deep Riverside High School in Weinberg. Yeah, UCT, education, qualifications, background in education, and also logistics, and my own business just in tourism and traveling. Yeah, divorced, two really great sons, 20 and 26. And furthermore, everything is private.
So, Greg, so if you want to share your marital status, divorced, single, 5 kids.
I'm married for.
Scalumpies?
Geez, how many years has it been? Probably 8 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
8 years. Little one is 2.5 now. And yeah, every day is a challenge. We take it one day at a time. 8 years
That's what I
still.
said. Yo, bro, I'm B now. This year will be 10 for me.
10. Just the day.
10, bro.
Is that the first
Yeah.
jewelry that you must buy, apparently? Isn't it a necklace
Apparently
or something?
so. I don't know. Now you're making me want to Google this.
So how many 4, 5 kids? 3 wives?
Well, only one, 3, feisty. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah.
Feisty.
From
Very
my
feisty.
end, a lot of the content that I've had guys asking me if I'm single, and I say no. The fact that I'm wanting to understand what's happening in the dating market, and because I've got nephews that's coming up now, and they are asking me questions, and when I kind of like
Ooh, wrong person to ask.
Yeah, because I'm not gonna lie to you. So I've started doing some research, and I've been finding a lot of things that opened up my eyes, and I always wanted to do something to help men and teach other guys because as Kevin said, he was in the church. I grew up in the church. Quinton, Greg.
Did I say anything about church? I didn't say anything about church.
Well, if you say,
I also didn't hear anything about church, but okay.
Yeah.
Let's just go with it.
Okay, so that again, I need to listen properly. So, was the youth group at church?
Let's leave things private, please. I don't want to speak about that funny underwear you have in your that you have in your cupboard there. Let's just keep it private.
Let's keep it under wraps. So, I mean, when it comes to understanding from a church, just from a I would say from a religious standpoint, or from experiencing church, whenever there's things that men are struggling with, they always would refer to saying, you know what, trust God, don't worry, everything's going to be okay. And as a man, for me personally, it never sufficed or was not good enough for me, because I always wanted something practical where someone could tell me, you know what, go to this verse, and this verse says you need to do these practical steps that's going to help you to be able to better understand. Because it wasn't for me to be difficult, but just to understand and have something that I can work with and be able to go at. So that is something where
you're talking about the walking out of things, right?
Yes, yes. And because I was also a young man trying to understand things, understand my life path, and coming to grips with getting to know who I am and where I'm going, and obviously understanding and getting to establishing my identity. So that for me, when it comes, I spoke to Quinton earlier, while you guys were still getting on, was to explain to him this whole Manosphere paradigm as for me to try and to create a network where men can talk to each other, because 2020, when this pandemic hit, there's a lot of pressure that's been placed onto men, men that is having to obviously financially support their families, be the breadwinner, and the scare that a lot of companies had when it came to potentially being retrenched because of COVID, that create all this uncertainty. Now looking back, we're all a bit more confident because we can see there's some closure to this whole story with people getting vaccines. But back then, there was a lot of anxiety, and everyone was kind of like sticking to the corners and were forced to do that because of the pandemic. But now I want to, with this platform, create this type of network to be able to talk to each other and talk about certain things, to be able to blow off some steam as men, and also on the same point also help to grow and edify each other with knowledge where we can pass it on between each other, and also obviously look at certain aspects from different viewpoints and be able to debate those points back and forth without a level of, you know, nowadays people talk to each other and they always have this, I want to be right and I'm going to shout over you. So that is the approach that I'm trying with this and want to achieve and grow further.
Okay.
When it comes to the channel itself, I mean, I've had so many people ask me the question. They say to me, Manosphere, what the hell is that? Obviously, if you say paradigm, someone will understand paradigm is a certain mindset that you would have. So Manosphere paradigm, I explain it to people and say to them that, like I said, I have had nephews and friends that ask me certain advice when it comes to relationships and when it comes to life in general. And there's certain things that I've discovered over the years where we as a culture, as men, we get programmed and taught that we have to believe a certain way, and that is the way we need to look at things. And if we do question it, we are either shamed, we are either insulted, or we are either put on a guilt trip, and we basically get shut down, or we are threatened with being cancelled if we say something against the social norm.
It's not social media. That's very true.
Yeah. So my question is, so my first question is, with that statement being made, what do you guys think about? Do you think that today it is men have the freedom to be able to talk to each other in this manner and be honest and open about how they really feel and what their belief is about certain things without the fear of being cancelled?
No, I'll be honest with you. Even amongst groups of guys as well, unless you know them, as in, for example, our group of guys, our group of, you know, when we have our monthly chats, video chats, it goes on for an hour, 2 hours, and you can say whatever, and nobody's angry with anybody. You can say whatever, but that is just your viewpoint. Whereas in people who don't really know, or acquaintances, and you say just because he's a guy, you say certain things, they will take offense to it because mindsets are changing. People are changing. People are trying to trust sometimes, you know. be politically correct in what they're saying, not to insult the next person or make the person, you know, it's a fine line, especially with guys. When it obviously comes to females, you approach it completely differently. You speak different. Your mannerisms are different. It's just different. But when it's guys, you think, you know, just speak like it. But honestly, we don't have that freedom like we used to. It's because of that, because of people taking offense.
Yeah.
That's my. That's my.
I think for me, it's more a cultural background. Growing up and identifying a man as a specific person that is a breadwinner. You don't see your dad cry. You don't see the uncles really getting in touch with the emotions. Even at funerals, the men stands one side, and they are closing the hole. That is their sole purpose. There's no tears. There is nothing on the so that is the culture that's cultivated for young men, and we never get in touch with those type of feelings and making sure that, listen, it's okay to break down in front of other men, and I think that for me is that culture shift maybe should be moved, so that you can be not just free, but you can just be yourself. But it's also a fine line, because then they say, but you are then it sounds like you're a wimp, because now you're just crying for anything, or you're just too emotional. So
being ridiculed is not nice.
There's a fine line of where you're trying to get in touch with your emotions, and then just going over to the other side, and then like, I need these a chunky Bali type of thing. Do you understand? So it's a difficult thing.
Yeah. Kevin, from
you guys touched on two important things. Obviously, Quinton referred to your circle where you feel safe. You can share those things, right? So that is one thing that is missing. A guy won't speak to a stranger about his life, about the deep things that's going on in his life. So a platform needs to be created. A safe platform needs to be created with regards to that. Then Greg also touched on there is something very important, and that is emotional IQ. Men tend to hide the emotional IQs. I think most men are they know themselves with regards to how they're feeling, but they don't know how to share that, because again, opportunities weren't created for them to share exactly how they're feeling, because nobody actually showed that they cared, or nobody actually asked to find out how you are. And so those two things, I think it's really important for people's minds to start changing. So yes, I do have a group of friends that I can speak to about anything. And on the other hand, I have two sons in their 20s, early 20s, that I do speak to them openly about issues. I do want to know how they are feeling. I do want to know what their opinions are. So in that way, I create a platform for them to say, listen here, or to share and be honest about their feelings. Raw emotions, down emotions, feeling unsafe, feeling inadequate, feeling anxious, all of those emotions that are considered weak, right? I do create that freedom for them to share. So those things are, I think it's very important, and men need to change their mindset with regards to what is strong or having to be strong, and what is really strong, being strong out there. Because a guy needs to be at a certain level to connect with a woman, and so being being emotionally adequate to identify feelings, and to also share those feelings, that's something else.
Cool. For that kind of like leads, I picked up two important things from Quinton and Greg, and each point one of you guys. Quinton mentioned the fact that between guys, there's a certain comfort level that you can be yourself, not to where people always think is, yeah, it's just being a whole lot of irresponsible boys just having fun or talking crap, but you are conversing and having meaningful discussions. And most of the time, no one is going to take the extra effort and go out to meet someone for a drink if all they're going to be talking about is superficial things and how's things with the family. Okay, that's great. You're not gonna have that go out for the entire night just to be talking about how the weather is. You know, if you do make that commitment to go out and meet with someone, you're gonna want to obviously have a certain level of, and not that you are taking a load off and telling them all your troubles, but have a organic conversation that kind of like feeds off of each other and understanding what's happening in each other's world. And that is the one thing that it's important for us as men to be able to have that interactions with men regularly. Because the thing with men, Quinton mentioned men and women are different. You can talk certain things with men, and obviously there's certain things you can't talk with women. But the reason for that is also the response is going to be completely different. It's night and day. With women, obviously, there's a certain level of emotion that we'll get into if something offends them, and then they will obviously voice that. But with men, the main difference is that there's violence. The threat of violence is definitely what is in play. If a male between two males have a chat and there's an offense between the two of them, it can quickly escalate into a fist fight, other than having the same type of interaction between a guy and a lady. It can also become, it depends on the lady and how ratchet she is, but okay, that's a conversation for another day. But I'm just trying to make the point. The other one that I wanted to make was when it comes to what that Greg also mentioned was the emotional thing in men being the rocks. And at the moment, everyone is looking at this whole thing that everything is equal. Men is equal. There's equal opportunity, equal rights for men and women. I totally agree with that. And I agree that each men and women should get the same opportunities. The other thing is, but we do understand as men that there is difference between a man and woman. There is differences between men and women because there's certain things, the way we approach certain things is different. And Greg mentioned it when he said that if we at the funeral, the men are the stoic ones that is in their frame, and they are calm. They probably, their emotions, they are thinking of memories of that person that's being lowered down into the grave. There's certain memories that plays on their mind and how they're going to miss that person, certain personal things, but they don't show it because everyone and the woman and the children is looking at them to be the strong rocks that they need them to be in that moment.
Now, how do you know that?
Well, what I'm saying.
How do you know that the women and the children are looking for the men to be the strong one at that time? How do you know that?
Because at the end of the day, everyone else is breaking down, and people are obviously showing the emotion and they are crying.
That's an assumption. That's an assumption, Ryan. You can't say that.
I've been to okay. So my question is this: we've obviously all been to funerals, and we've experienced and seen certain things for what it is. In my experience, what Greg has explained is what I have seen at funerals. So explain to me, what is your experience when you're saying, giving me your point now to say that, how do we know that? What are you basing that off on? And obviously give an example.
No, I agree with Greg, but you are making an assumption when you're saying that the women and the children are looking to the men to be the strong one at that point.
Mm-hmm.
What made you say that? Yes, the men keep towards themselves. They don't share what they're feeling. They might be reminiscing. The women are showing that emotion. The kids are also showing that emotion. But now you are making an assumption by saying that the women and the children are looking to the men to be strong at that time. and I think that is a misconception.
Well, I went off from obviously from what Greg mentioned earlier when he explained the grave scene and how, just to explain and illustrate the point of emotions as to how across the board it's being dealt with, and how the men is always looked at as having to be the strong ones in a relationship. There's a saying that I have heard over the last couple of months. You might agree with it, you might not agree with it. But I personally, I've kind of like, I've thought about it, and to me it makes sense. The saying says that pressure is made for shoulders and not hips. And the reason that statement was made was that when it comes to upholding and protecting and being the rock in the family, the role of that is predominantly the men, because when anything goes bump in the night, the female doesn't get up and grab the machete or the gun and goes to the door. She's looking at her husband, a boyfriend, whoever is the person, or the man in the house, and she's looking at him as, I'll call the police, here's the gun, or here's whatever, go check it out. You guys agree with me?
Okay. So yes, I
You
know.
have more than, sorry, go ahead, Quinton.
I also understand. And now you get in today for the, let's just say today's kids. A lot of kids have single parents, and most of the single parents are females, and most of the females have sons. That in that situation where the mother has to play both roles, it's quite a high percentage of guys
More
who
than
have been
half
raised,
the population.
who have been raised by their mothers. There's a lot of fathers who were there, but they were never present.
Yeah.
In the households as well, where the mother have taken on the lead roles in those situations. Who does these boys grow up? Who do they look to as a father figure? So they rather see this father as, don't do that, don't do that, don't do what he did.
Yeah, it's being used as the bad example.
So there's a lot of guys who didn't even have male role models. You know, and mother, and then you also get this mothers who bring in men into the households who try, you know, they can't handle this boy, you know, and then there's a scuffle. So he loses another father figure, for example. And there's this mother's like, I'm not going to try, I'm not even going to do anything, I'm just going to. And there's a lot of those boys grow up to be good people. Some of them they don't. It's just circumstances. So as you say, when you say that it's only women and who needs to depend on men, it's not. And also the way the world is changing now. It's how you handle situations. I think personally, it's how you handle situations and how you I would like to, if I, for example, my child to know and learn everything there is to. I don't want to sugarcoat things. I want them to learn the hard things, learn the difficult things.
You don't want to put them through having to get the hard knocks to be able to learn the lessons, but you want to have them have a realistic picture of what.
Yes, of what, because the world is not kind. It's not going to treat you kind. It's not going to. It's not going to help you. It's not going to help you.
It doesn't care about your feelings either.
No.
So
yeah.
So for me, the next question that it actually leads, and you guys are actually flowing with what I wanted to ask is, I'm gonna probably at the end of the call just ask you guys a bit more about my channel specifically, and just a quick 5-minute discussion on what I'm doing on there and what your opinions are and so forth. But you guys are actually flowing perfectly with what I wanted. My next question that I wanted to follow that up with is that men don't get where is it now? It's called maintaining frame, right? So like Greg said, there is a certain expectation and there is a burden of performance on men to stand as a gap in a way for their families. Now, whether there is certain men that was there for their family and stood standing in that gap. Now, I'd like you guys to just to look at it this way. We all obviously we have our own personal opinions and our own personal experience of what we've also encountered as we grew up. But we also have the other aspect of it is we also understand culturally and society wise as to what some of the norms are in our communities as we grew up as well. So we knew what was going on our house, but then we also knew what we know from the people and the friends and society as a whole, kind of like what the trends are. So those are the two viewpoints that we obviously we all have. So one of the things is frame, whether the example is that you received it at home or not. But do you guys agree that that level and the burden of performance on men, that there is that performance, not just from your wife, your girlfriend, that burden of performance as men to provide, to be that rock, to be there and to protect, and to be that guidance as to the leader or the one that's leading the household. Do you agree with me when I say that those are the aspects that is traditionally connected to men, and that is still, whether we are in a new age of a new world that we are living in, those are still the things that is required for a successful union between a man and a female. And I'm not talking any other type of union, if it is a man and man, or if it's the LMNOPQ community, whatever that. I'm just talking about a hetero relationship, and I'm saying, do you guys still agree that those are the traits that is still required for a functional family between a man and a woman to be successful?
So yes and no.
Okay.
Culturally, certain things, you grew up in church, you have a certain expectation of what a man's supposed to be and the way a woman is supposed to act around you. And there is still that expectation. It also depends on where you're coming from and where you're heading to, and what your expectation as a man is in that relationship or in a relationship. Where you're going to find a partner who's going to agree with that. It's 50-50, and that's where the no comes in. So it also depends on the person. But yes, I will say there is always going to be an expectation. There will always be an expectation, and there will always be a bit of a burden, obviously, set out on the man because of tradition.
Yeah.
And that's how things are supposed to be, type of thing, you know?
Okay. Guys?
I'll agree with that. Just with regards to that, it's an expectation. It's also it's only an unsaid expectation until both parties in the relationship address it. And I think most marriage counseling does include the role of the husband and the role of the wife. And that is where both the husband and the wife speaks about what the expectation is of each other. And they also try and explain what they think their roles are. And until that is on the table, it's like people choosing cards or people choosing roles or people choosing responsibilities that that those roles are fulfilled. But to answer your question, there is that expectation on the man to fulfill most of those roles that you identified, with regards to protection, with regards to provision, with regards to having to be on board, with regards to raising the kids, help cleaning the home and seeing to the garden, making sure that the bills are paid, the big bills are paid, providing a vehicle for the family, providing a roof over the head, things like that. Yeah. So
okay,
I'll agree with that statement.
Kemper?
I think honestly from my side, I really battle with this because I feel like it is true, but we as men are the ones that are just continuing this culture and because we can stop it. We can say, listen, the pressure that you're putting on us is unnecessary, or why do we need to be the head of the house? Because my grandfather was the head of the house and he brought his salary to the grandma, and then she sorted out everything, and then he sat on the couch and he had his beer, whatever. Why must that be? When do we need to say, listen, that's not how it's supposed to be? A family should be, we're coming together, we're sitting down, and we are in a relationship together, and we are supposed to make this work. So as much as this is true what you guys are saying, and I fully agree with you, there is a lot of pressure, outside pressure, that's on a man to be the specific person. I tend to fight this battle, because it's difficult, because I do not want to continue this, because it's unnecessary pressure that's on us. Yeah. To form that role that is no longer in the new way of thinking in a family situation. You are still the head of the house, but it doesn't mean you are the king of the house, if that makes sense. Yeah. Do you understand? So yeah, you can still be the head in the family, but you don't need to feel like you are the one that needs to pay everyone. Your wife can earn more than you, and you should be okay with that. And that is, I think, where things should start changing as well. And that conversation should be brought up, and people should sit around the table and be okay with that. But the pressure from culture and society still boils down and sit on us, and we are just needing to accept it.
Yeah. Well, the thing is this, I want to actually take what you've just said when it comes to the pressure that's on men, and the traditional expectation that is still on men. Don't you think, or you can tell me if I'm wrong, or tell me I'm talking crap, like Kevin always does, but or you can tell me, you know what, it actually does make sense. We as men are pushed to continually stick to our traditional roles as the provider, as the protector. We have to put our life on the line for our family. We have to make the sacrifice or it's not that we have to, but we do it willingly. I mean, I don't have kids just yet, but I can from a common sense standpoint, and I obviously will have that, will have a better insight into that when I have kids myself. But I'm just thinking from a logical standpoint that obviously if it comes to what you guys are willing to do for your kids to be successful, and what you need to sacrifice, not just in the long term, but maybe you need to, for the next 6 months to a year, cut back on your luxuries for you specifically, you'll do that because you want to do certain things for your family. Saying that, I'll go back. Men are kept to the traditional roles, and we have to be those upstanding men and the men with high morals that must stick to what the script is for us as men. But the question I have is, why is it that the new way of doing things has always been talked about, but the new way of things is women stepping further and further away from that traditional role that they are required to do? When it comes to looking after the family, they have opted now, obviously, when it comes to, I won't call it the F word, I'll call it womanism. For the last 40, 50 years, they've obviously pushed for empowering, and that's a good thing. And like I said, I'm all for equal rights. What I'm not for is equal outcomes, if that makes sense. If I'm going to go to an interview, both of us go for an interview. You're a woman, I'm a man. If you only get the job because you're a woman, then obviously that's unfair, because what was the point of me applying if the job was for a specific job requirement and they said you need to come in for the interview? So that is just one part of it. But my question is, why is it that the men are constantly pushing to this box and kept in this box of the traditional role they have to fulfill, but we are wanting to change things so much, where we have women that operate in this sexual liberation or sexual liberated society that we currently live in, the world of the WAP, of Cardi B and everything else that goes along with it. And you cannot shame a woman for being promiscuous or sleeping with too many men and stacking too many bodies. But we as men have to be that virtuous men that have to stick to the script to be the traditional men. So do you guys think that we are men are being sold a dream to be conned into the plantation, to continue staying on the plantation? Or is there genuine push to have things equal, but obviously coming from a genuine viewpoint, not from a viewpoint of conning men to still believing that the Disney fairy tale exists, but what's her name, the Cinderella and everyone else is a long time moved on, and they are doing the WAP and they're doing their thing.
So you asked a lot of questions there. I want to address.
I just wanted to create just to give a bit context, but I did go on a rant on that one. But
my friend,
apologize.
Men can only focus on one thought and one question at a time.
So I'm gonna keep it simple. My question then is: do you think that it's unfair that men are being kept to the traditional role and females are given this broad scope of do you go do what's best for you, but not necessarily is it something that's good for a monogamous relationship, or is it something that breeds a whole lot of trouble for marriages, because the marriage rates has dropped over the years. We all, if you go onto Stats SA, you can go check that out. You see there that marriage rates has fallen. So if pushing women into the workplace that's been happening and telling them do what works for you, if that is supposed to be the thing that got us to the promised land, why are we seeing in the negative result of where marriage rates are dropping, divorce rates are rising, and men are still being pushed to stay into this traditional box?
Okay, you just added another 4 questions there.
So, but you get the picture. You get the picture what I was trying to bring across.
I just want to highlight one of the fallacies that perpetrate this type of wrong thinking, and that is happy
so you're
wife,
saying what I'm saying
home.
is wrong?
No.
Oh, okay.
One of the thoughts, and I like your saying that you mentioned earlier on about the hips and the shoulders. Also something that is inaccurate, but I want to focus on the one that is mostly used out there. Happy wife, happy home. So I'm thinking, happy wife, happy home. Where's the husband in that equation? So that just means that the husband must fall over backwards, do everything that he's supposed to do, just so that the woman can be happy. So that means there is no responsibility or no accountability taken on the wife's side. Because, I mean, I also want to be happy in a relationship. I'm sure every other man also wants to be happy in the relationship. And that five minutes of intimacy that some guys spend, we're not referring to that. We're referring to, listen here, I also want to be appreciated in my family. I also want to be I also want to feel like I'm heard. I also want to feel that you are taking notice of me, whatever is important to me. I also want to feel those things. But just that one fallacy about happy wife, happy home is one of the worst reasons.
My response to that has always been
that support.
My response to
that statement.
Yeah, my response to that has always been happy spouse, happy house. And spouse is for both.
Either one. Mm-hmm.
So if both isn't happy, the one is sacrificing and killing himself to be able to make things work for the family, and the other party is doing what they want because they've been encouraged to do you girl, do what works for you. Is that if you're constantly considering what works for you, just thinking from a logical standpoint, if you do what works for you and you're not considering anyone else, how's that then beneficial then to the family unit?
That's a selfish attitude.
You see, also, I know when you say each other can do what you need to do for you, that's from a single person's perspective. when you're getting married, you're making a conscious choice. A conscious choice to work in a partnership with somebody.
To stop your thought, but we got our final guest that finally got into the room.
Okay.
Hi, Mike.
Hey, how you doing? I'm in the car. I'm driving at the moment.
No worries.
I'll be on mute. I should be able to contribute soon.
No problem. Just give the guys a quick 20-second intro of who you are, where you're situated, and how you know the Manosphere paradigm.
Okay. Well, do you want me to do that now? Or...
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
The guy's driving.
I'm driving, but you know, as men, we're versatile. Right. So, yeah. Hi guys. So, I'm based in London. I go by the moniker Dre the Genius, which is my YouTube channel. I linked up with my boy Manosphere a couple of weeks ago. We had a good debate. Yeah, he invited me today to join your discussion. Unfortunately, I'm not in a good location at the moment to really settle down and have an input. But no, I'm grateful for the invite. Based in London, civil engineer by background, you know, like yourselves, interested in stuff in the Manosphere, which I followed for a number of years. So yeah, glad to be here.
Great stuff. Thanks. Keep your eyes on the road over there. We're having a conversation. You can follow it, and when you get a chance to put some stop off, or you stopped, feel free to pop in and give your input and put your hand up.
Sure.
Great stuff.
So I'll go on mute.
No problem. So Quinton, you were sorry to break your word. I just wanted to get Mike in there. So
No
go
problem.
for what you, if you can remember when it comes to your train of thought. Sorry about that.
No, what I was trying to say is, when you say up to a woman, or you know, let the girls go out there, do what do you, girl, you do you. It's fine. It's for me is, if you have basic respect for another human being, whether it's a male or a female, to go out and pursue the dreams and do what they want to do for themselves, it's fine. Once you're in a relationship, you will always have to be conscious first of your partner. And once you're married, you should know when you do certain things, it's a reflection of your partner. So that should always be in the background. Then it gets further when you become a parent as well. What you do is a reflection of, you know, your child sees these things, and you just be, if you're a good person, you're trying to do good. It's pointless trying to push anybody down, whether they the color of the skin, male, female, their sexual orientation, whatever it is. For me personally, if you want to live your life, do it. If you want to do it, you do it. All that I need to do is just respect your fellow human being. That's all you need to do. Then we shouldn't have any of these issues, any of these problems.
Yeah.
When it comes to ridicule, because like you said, you get those guys who think they are the man type of thing, and they must just be this and they must just be that. It's difficult to get it out of them, because it's all that they know. So there will always be somebody trying to push you down. But you know, if you can have just common respect and common sense for the next person, you shouldn't have an issue, especially with regards to your partner. So if your partner wants to go and become CEO, let them be. If it's causing problems within the relationship, that should be addressed, but then that will be between the two of you. You know what I mean?
I hear you. So what I was saying just is that obviously there is a certain level of understanding that men, it's not just the burden of performance that's on them, but there's the fact that as men, we always need to maintain our frame. And I go back to the graveyard scenario where Greg said, where it is expected of the men to be strong, and to be the rocks, where obviously everyone else is feeling emotional. Maybe the man himself would feel emotional. I'm not denying the fact that if someone has passed away, you feel emotional and want to cry about it. But you're going to maybe show the emotion, but not to the extent of where someone is going to view you, or the females that's looking around you is like, every time we look at this guy, this dude is crying and crying, and I can't depend on him because he's a complete wet wipe that that I'm gonna doubt when push comes to shove, is he actually going to be able to, if there's bump in the night, will he be the one that I can trust to go and sort that out? So there is a certain extent where there's a level of expectation of men that is constantly on this thing of you need to perform, but then I believe there's certain things that certain men have to fulfill, because as a man, that is what you need to bring to the table, because that is how you get your respect from your woman, because you are the one that is carrying the family, you are leading the family, and you are and obviously plotting the best way to go forward. I just want to show you guys and share the screen quickly. Tell me if you can see it. Just one quote from a guy called, his name is Rollo Tomasi, and I've actually ordered his book. I've read quite a few of some snippets, some chapters that came through, and I've been reading some of it, but I want to actually read the entire book, and I want to do that. But Rollo Tomasi, he's written a book called the Rational Male. He's got a few of them that expands on that whole theme. So let me just share the screen. He talks about, let me just open this. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, he talks about the frame you set in the beginning of a relationship will establish the tone of the future of that relationship.
I agree with that.
As that, you
Yeah,
know,
so if you chasing, sorry to cut you,
No, go
so
for
if you chasing the girl, and if you're setting the precedent with regards to, okay, I'm going to pay every restaurant bill, I'm going to be running after you, I'm going to be showering you with gifts and flowers, and I'm going to be doing everything to kind of win you over. But at the same time, the woman is just receiving and watching this whole thing play and do nothing or to reciprocate the behavior. Then obviously it's one side, and then that expectation is set for the whole relationship and for the whole marriage as well.
Yeah,
and that's a false expectation, isn't it? Because you are not true to yourself. So
yeah, it needs to be genuine.
as
If
much
you,
as I agree with what the frame, but it's you can easily set a false expectation,
yeah,
because when you are hunting as a man, you put your best foot forward. So if you're saying that the frame you set at the beginning of the relationship will establish the tone for the future, it could definitely change. I can't fully agree with that.
And do you agree if you're setting, like you said, if you are putting your best foot forward and it is not your genuine self, you're obviously going to be, you're going to be caught out further down the road, because that's not who you are. And I think what Kevin was saying is, if you're showering with gifts. So I want just to illustrate 2 points. There's 2 ways of going about it. And back in the day, giving flowers, chocolates, and those type of things, and being romantic, for the day and age that it was, it may have been 40, 50 years, it may have been the thing that got women to be what that was a bit more traditional than compared to today. You guys agree with me on that?
No, it still works today. That's still what they want. They still want that chase. They still want to be courted. It's just they're not, guys, boys are not being, they don't have examples of how and what to do, you know, for those things, because what we are learning now is, we guys are boys, or young boys, young men, they learn via the social media, for example, has become such a big influence
And movies.
in how you are supposed to approach certain things and certain situations, that that whole thing about courting and, you know, the traditional thing, they don't know about that. They just think, okay, you must do it like this, and this is the expectation, and then we're going to have sex like in porn type of thing. They don't, and the thing, what happens with guys, if guys don't see, if the young men don't get all those things,
But do you think, don't you think you're
abuse it,
overlooking one thing?
and then abuse starts and stuff like that. Stuff like that, because
Don't you
they
think
said,
you're overlooking
I've done
one
everything
thing?
that society has asked me to do, but I'm still not getting what I'm supposed to be getting.
Or don't you think you're overlooking one huge thing?
What is that?
The market. I mean, I wanted Mike to be on the call. I see you dropped again, but it's probably where he's driving. He's not getting reception or something. But I mean, out of the four of us, Kevin is the one that is single, and Mike was the guys that's single, right? So they obviously are in the dating market and experiencing and in kind of like they've got skin in the game. I just want to let me say it that way. They got skin in the game because they currently maybe they're on dating sites, or they are meeting women to obviously court them, or if they're interested in doing that. But don't you think that if you're saying that women still wants the traditional chocolates and the spoiling things, don't you
I'm not saying that they say they want to be courted. There's a difference between.
No, but you said they want you.
and
They still want the
expecting them.
chocolates. I said the chocolate. You said no. They still want it.
Some of them do. I won't say they don't. Some of them they still want at least make an effort.
But don't you think they want it? They want it because it feeds to their ego. To you know what? I've got guys sending me flowers and chocolates. It feeds into the ego because this thing, when it comes to your phone, I mean, if imagine you were 25-year-old young lady, and you are in 25, you are good looking. Can you imagine what her inbox looks like in the DMs about hey beautiful? You know, when they post a photo now,
that's where the person who's actually going to be chasing and courting and doing those things stands out to the norm that society has portrayed as being, okay, this is the way it's supposed to be.
No, but I'll disagree with you on that one. And the reason why I disagree is that, don't you think that if you look at someone, say for instance, you are someone looking at a celebrity, and you looking at the celebrity, you place them on this pedestal as to they are this deity and this perfect person. You are looking past sometimes the blatant red flags that you may see if you are looking at them with more realistic eyes, but because you're looking at them with this kind of starry-eyed celebrity look and putting them on a pedestal, you're going to look past certain red flags. And because you look at them as being this fan, don't you think you'll just be one of the normal run-of-the-mill dudes of all the other 100, 200 guy that's liking the photo and saying, oh, you look so beautiful, than the guy that responds back to you when he's got time because he's got stuff to do? Other than the one that whenever he does get the response from her, he hops to get back to you. Oh, sorry, I didn't get back to you in 10 minutes or 15 minutes. What did you want? How you doing? Blah, 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 blah. Don't you think the level of being on your own purpose, and that's my next thing, being on your purpose, and like Kevin said, if you don't chase, you actually are not, you don't need to chase, because they've made the market so easy now, because everyone is the same. All the guys are chasing and thinking that's the thing that they need to do to get them, but they don't realize that they need to be on their purpose, live their life, enjoy their life, and live this life that another woman would look at and be like, wow, I actually like what he's doing and how he's always got a trip going, or even if it's not a trip, but you've got this life that you're projecting. And sometimes people over embellish when it comes to what they do and try to show the best IG. But those are the things guys need to do nowadays to be standing out, but not on a level of being fake. Like Greg said, they'll be caught out if their frame isn't genuine. But they need to be on a level of, sorry?
So,
there is nothing wrong with buying chocolates and buying roses, right? That's just
on the first
the
day,
makeup of that's just the makeup of the female.
On the first
we can
day,
discuss that.
I'm asking.
We can discuss that. We can discuss that at a later point. But
no, I'm asking now. Are you saying on the first day?
If you want to, you can.
On the first date, it's just initial meeting. See if there's a connection. Okay, I'm talking about flowers for myself now, flowers or chocolates now would be in a relationship.
Yes,
Okay.
and that's the and I'm not
that's
saying flowers and chocolate is off the table completely. But that would be my next point. That is for the context of a relationship, not to rock up with flowers and chocolate to be that romantic guy to think that that is going to be the thing that gets you in the ball game. All that's going to get you is in the friend zone, and it's not you, it's me.
let me just
I just feel that you can get a better person.
Then you
let me
move
just
on.
finish what I, yeah, let me just finish what I wanted
Yeah.
to share. And that is flowers and chocolates. I don't have a problem with flowers and chocolates. Yeah, and I mean I agreed with that statement that that guy made, because you obviously, whatever you do while you are dating, that's the same expectation that you're going to take throughout your dating period and also into your marriage, right? But what guys need to be aware of is that obviously you're setting your standard, but at the same time, you should not be the only one giving. You should not be the only one that is bending over backwards. If the female is not reciprocating with regards to buying you something that you like, or paying for your beer now and then, or saying, listen here, or initiating outings, or just saying, I want to spoil you a little today. If you're not hearing those things, then you're in trouble.
Yeah, there needs to be a certain level of investment from her end as well.
Yeah, that's a red flag. That should be a red flag, because it should go both ways.
But that's how relationships should work. I don't understand.
Exactly. It's simple. But
yeah, no, the thing is this, I mean, that is the advantage for us as us. We are the 40-year-old. Kevin, if he feels free to give away his age, it's up to him. But when it comes to us, we have a story to tell and we have something to impart to youngsters. Although they obviously are coming up in a different era with different things that they have to contend with, we still have a lot of lessons that we can pass on to them, and that one is one of the important things for this platform, to pass on those lessons to for them to understand. Because I've read an article also that shows that the amount of men that is having sex, the numbers going down. Now, I'm serious. The number for men that is having sex.
Married, in relationship.
No, I'm just saying.
Just in general.
In general. Overall.
Damn.
The amount of men that's having sex, some of them are having their first experiences when they're 30. Now, obviously, it depends on what your religious beliefs are going to believe. Yeah, if you're someone that are going to be abstaining until you're married, or if you're someone that's going to condomize and be cautious and live the dating life, be out there. It's up to you. But what I am saying is that there is actually a study that was done, and the findings was that men are not having and are unable to communicate with women, and there's actually a rise in where they call this term the incels, men that is completely socially awkward and don't know how to go about talking to females, getting being this charismatic guy to go up to a female confidently, hit on her, and obviously if it goes well and there's a reciprocation, get the number, set up something, and take it from there. Or like most of us know, I mean, we men and we women, we come from the days of the 2000s. It's the club. I go, I like what I see. We had the confidence to walk up to a woman and say, what's your name? And then at the end of the night, you either be that guy that's dancing in the dark, having a blues with a chick or not, or you be the guy standing next to the speaker, looking at everyone, seeing where is the floundering chicks or the bigger ones that you can go for the, what do you call it, the late night dead loss.
Yeah, but those ones are not the ones with substance, not the ones with substance, not the ones you actually want to take home to meet your mother. So you also go through different corners to find the right ones. You also, so what I would like to impart on younger men is have standards and stick to it.
Yeah.
Don't compromise your standards when it comes to the type of female that you're looking for, type of person. whether it is with looks, and then get to know the person. So you should know what type of person you want, personality-wise. It's very important to keep that standard up there.
Can I just follow on what Quinton is saying? Is so for me personally, and I appreciate obviously this platform where we as men can chat, etc. And but then with that said, is that we are saying that we would like to impart to this young men and advise them of what to do and what not to do. Personally, I would like them to also bump their heads and be rejected, because that builds character.
Oh yes, definitely, definitely.
So as much as we are there to guide them,
there we go.
Let them go into those DMs and be rejected and not get immediate reply. So for me, if someone had to tell me everything that I know now when I was 20, out of the next 2 years, be bored out of my head, because I would have been rejected. I would have been saying, no, that one is actually not interested. So I needed to go through that and to be where I am now.
Yeah.
So taking that away from these young, early 20-year-olds is also not allowing them to live through very important aspects of their lives. So for me, as much as I want to guide these youngsters and tell them, listen, this is what you need to do, and there are things that can help them, maybe financially, where to invest things. But when it comes to relationships, I let them bump their toe, because at the end of the day, that is what builds character, that makes them stronger. Rejection is needed. Unfortunately, we need to be rejected in order to grow. We can't lose all the girls.
You go through a dry spell, and you learn from that.
Exactly.
And the thing is, it's not just a rejection when it comes to relationships. A rejection when it comes to a business plan or business deal that you wanted, you got rejected for not getting money from
it helps you with that,
or getting the investment, or something that it goes across the board. But what I was trying to say is, it's not that you importing the fact that you want to give them all the do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that, and be successful. You giving them just the blueprint to say that you can be a bit further down the road if you use some of these lessons to have a better result. And the other thing is, the other aspect of this, I agree with you. Rejection and pain is your friend, because it helps you to force yourself to actually reassess things and say to yourself, you know what am I doing wrong? What don't I know? Where am I? What is my blind spot in this thing? And how can I learn the lesson to get a better result? So I agree with that totally. The other thing is, though, is we don't see the ones that actually unfortunately falls off on the wayside. Because the same token that the number of men that is not the number of men that is the amount of men that's having sex, and that number is dropping, that plays into men being depressed, and men actually getting to the point of saying to themselves, you know what's the point? I don't see myself getting better in this area of my life, and you know what, I'm going to take a rope, I'm going to take a pill, I'm going to take whatever, and I'm going to delete myself. That is something.
You can't use the word sex more than 3 times in a conversation with a guy, please. It's like very distracting.
Okay, so yeah, but what I was saying is that so men are men. Okay, go for it.
Sorry guys, I'm just eating, that's why I just took my camera off.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, certain guys, a lot of the guys do get past that point of feeling the anger of that rejection, because the thing is, they take it personal. They don't take it as, you know what, it's a numbers game, and you will get 10 rejections and you will get that one, or you'll get 20 rejections and you get the one. They don't look at it as a numbers game, because when I was younger, I took it as a numbers game. Sometimes it stung if you were really feeling the chick for whatever reason, But sometimes you just wrote it off and you move on to the next because you knew it wasn't personal, because maybe you weren't a cup of tea. And she looked as you was being a 6. In your brain, you thought,
Oh yeah,
you were
no.
10. But
The numbers game. I remember the numbers game. I used to make sure, so when weekends come, so you're done working, Thursday, Friday comes. So you know before Sunday, where's the highest count for the weekend. So when you come on Sunday, guys, what's happening?
there's a high hit rate.
1, yeah, yes, 1, 2. If you hit the Friday, Saturday, and the Sunday, you're walking out there, and who's the man? It was like that. It became a competition. So you get rejected a lot of the times. Most of the times you're gonna get rejected. But it's always gonna be the one.
Now that leads to my second point also. My question that I have for you guys also is that you're experiencing that rejection. You are learning the lessons and you are trying and learning to do things better, and you're learning sometimes you don't need to hit outside of your betting range to be more successful. And sometimes some of the ones that outside of your betting range is also at times overrated. They're overrated because when it comes to having conversations with them, they suck. Because they expect the men that they normally deal with runs around and do everything for them because they are these beautiful verstaan, and there's a certain level of ego that goes along with it. But what I wanted to say is that with the rejection, don't you think that you are also getting to the point to understand that there is a game that's being played, and you actually need to become a bit smarter in learning how the game is played, because we get taught that there is the social construct of you must be romantic. The woman tell you no, you must buy her flowers, you need to be they. I have learned one of the when we played Mario Brothers back in the day, we played 18 in 1. We knew on certain stages where to jump and shoot, or where to run backwards and do whatever to get the cheat code to go 3 levels up. That for me is when you know there's a game that's being played. And for me, the cheat code is the fact that you don't listen to what they say. You listen and you look at what they do. Because they will tell you, I want a sensitive, romantic guy, but then they go for Wani and Archie down the road that doesn't have anything against their name, but they are dudes that is assertive. It might be fake because they want to be this macho man, but they are drawn to that because that guy is a certain level of his frame is something that they are buying into. And Greg, like Greg said, it might be the frame that is the best foot forward to hook him and get out of them what he wants. But I've learned that stop listening to what they are telling you, because they'll tell you the best case scenario so that they don't want to give up the game. And you need to look at what they do. So what do you guys think about that?
One of the for like for what you need to change so you learn from your rejections and this. So one thing I've learned, one of the biggest things I've learned is just change your appearance first. Your appearance. The moment you have a vehicle, if you have a car, you are at least 100 steps ahead of most of the guys. Yeah. That's all you need to do. You can rock up at somebody's at the party.
Yeah, but don't you think that has changed?
No, it's changed. It's changed now.
Because there's Uber nowadays.
It's changed now.
Back in the day when we had a car, I mean, you guys know the car I had.
It was.
Everyone went around. I went from a two-door Golf to a Sentra. Then from a Sentra, went to a Mapolo. But you know, if you're the guy that's got the wheels, at least you are able to transport the goods.
You are set. You don't have to work. You know, there is no working that night. You know, okay, cool. You just walk into the place. That one's.
But that was the environment that we were.
Yeah, that's the environment where we came from.
Today, the new environment is the Facebook and the IG life. And the car back in the day, the equivalent to a car today to women is a guy that travels and does trips to different countries. Traveling is the new car when it comes to status and women looking at men and, oh, he can take me those places, that and that. Because if you look at IG, people are constantly posting. But one of the things you also need to look at is the fact that you always see in those photos, these women are standing in Dubai, wherever the case may be. You always ask yourself this question. So who's taking the photo? But you're always on your own doing this thing that you are on your own. But my question is there a sheik or some prince or someone?
There's one thing I would never be able to do is to jump back into the dating pool right now. I won't be able to, if anything.
No, I'm just talking about the similarities of what was then and what are they having to compare with now.
It's so different. I'm not ready for that. I'm not ready for actually jumping into the dating pool, because the expectations the expectations is completely different. Especially if you're at the age where you set in your way, you set in everything. But the expectations from.
But don't you think you have an advantage? Because you're set in your ways, don't you think you have an advantage? And I'm not saying I'm encouraging, I'm not saying, hey, wifey,
no, I understand what you're saying.
Telling Quinton to go back in the dating field.
No.
I'm just saying the fact that you set in your ways and you are not gonna change for anyone, that actually makes you more attractive, because you're not gonna come in with the frame of trying to put your best foot forward just to get in. You're gonna come, look, if you don't like it, then you can go.
Then yes, carry on. That's exactly.
And that is actually that makes you more attractive, because you have that abundance mindset. Because you have a career that you're busy with. You are established where it comes to your own home or certain things that you have. You have that abundance mindset. You don't need a woman to make a life for you or start and build with her. So that makes you already more attractive. But what I'm saying is, do you guys agree when I made the comparison between back in the days car compared to today's travel is like the car back in the day when it comes to status?
I don't know if that is because
I'm just asking.
It also depends, because a car for us in Mitchell's Plain back in the day was big.
It was
but
big,
a car, if you grew up in Wynberg, was not big. So I don't know. So it also depends with the fact that the girls that we were picking up, if you had a car, just wanted to get out of Mitchell's Plain. So we can't say Instagram is similar to a car.
Traveling is similar.
I'm making the comparison because of status. Because I'm looking at what they view as what is status. And they are drawn to the fact that you were the dude that was sitting in the driving seat, and all the other, they said, I don't want no scrub. A scrub is sitting in the passenger side of his best friend, right? We heard that song back in the day. They told us straight they don't want the scrub. So you knew you had to be the one that's driving the car to be in, at least to have a shot.
Listen, so with regards to the dating scene, it has changed a lot. Women, with regards to status and wanting a secure future, that hasn't changed. But one thing that we have in our favor is that there are, what's the ratio now? 1 to 8? Or it was 1 to 8. I think it's 1 to 12 now.
Yeah.
And the fact that there are a lot of divorced people out there besides the widows.
I have friends.
It's advantageous now for a guy, because you have more a selection to like choose from it.
So do you guys agree
that? I won't say women are desperate in this regard, but there is a touch of desperation out there with, listen here, if my chances is 1 to 12 now, then I need to, do something or up my game. Or lower my standards.
You would agree with me when
so Kevin, with that said, sorry, let me just ask something. So Kevin, with that said, would you agree with Heine's comment regards to if you are dating now, that you have more, what did you say about this? You have more
confidence, or
you are more in
set in your
control
ways,
of confidence.
yeah.
So would you agree with something like that? And you can dictate what you want, and you feel that you are more attractive to women. It is so with that said, what I'm thinking is that
You put up with
women
less,
of you flocking to you because of the status. I can't see that happening, to be honest.
For me, I wouldn't be able to see it happening to me either.
I
Flocking-
agree that the 12-1, but me saying that I don't see women just being able to see you attractive just because they are 12-1. They
No.
Mm-mm.
it doesn't mean,
Definitely not.
yeah, it doesn't mean if I say that you are set in your ways and that you are more, the thing is this, you need to understand also what is attractive to them. The same things that's attractive to us for what's attractive in a woman to us is not the same for a woman, you know, because we all as men look at women with from femininity, and the fact that the way they make you feel, the way they support you, and the way, if she makes you feel like a Superman, and she and you all have that common respect for each other, and like Kevin has said, there is that reciprocal type of investment in each other, whether it comes to the small things that she's looking at to make your day better and compliment and add to you, then you know you are investing in a proper investment. But then if you get to this point where she's constantly on this level of I want to do this. I don't care what you want to do, my way or the highway, or I've got so many men that's calling me. You must be lucky you have me. You will easily be on the level of
Red flag.
Antichrist, and you have a more of an abundance mindset to say, "The hell with you." If that's your attitude, I know I can go and find someone else. Because my question is, do you agree with me when I say that a 40-year-old man and a 40-year-old woman are not the same thing?
Of course not.
Quinton? And I'm not
It's
saying
intimidating.
I'm not saying their personal
Intimidating.
value as a person goes down and they less than men. All I'm saying is their sexual market value goes down.
Greg, did I answer your question firstly?
well, I'm still not sure. I'm trying to, because I'm
I
just
want
trying to
I
see
want to
that
get to that. I want to get to him. So I want to actually answer his question,
to
but I
basically
want to also
fully understand, like, because you are obviously single, so you were able to tell us exactly you are in this game and you are now experiencing this. Is this happening?
There are obviously desperate women out there, right?
Like this
but
desperate men out there. Yeah.
So
Same.
guys, let's pull it back quickly. Let's pull it back. I want to actually ask a question, and I want to go through the panel to get an answer, because I want to get to that actually and answer Greg's question. So I asked it to Kevin. He said no. Quinton, what's your do you believe a 40-year-old man and a 40-year-old woman are the same thing, or on the same sexual market value? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Greg?
Sure. I can be. It depends how she looks after herself. Depends how he looks after himself.
Okay.
That's why I said yes. So
yeah.
I'm looking from out of my eyes through my eyes.
Okay, so the reason I asked the question is, obviously I mentioned earlier that what is attracted for a woman and what is attracted for a man is different, and we are being judged for what we are bringing to the table as a man and what we bring to the table as a woman. Now, if you are a 40-year-old man, you've obviously been through some things, and you are now on a certain level financially that you can do certain things that you couldn't do when you were 25 or 30 or even 20, because you've grown, you've built, and you've actually, to a certain extent, have established as to what you were wanting to get. But you are better off financially and also mentally. I would say, I hope, I'm just speaking in general. For some men, age doesn't change the fact that they actually grow up or not. But just for argument's sake, So you will be further along the road and you will have a certain level of confidence because you have this abundance mindset. You agree with me? Okay. So for a lady, what do we as men value in a woman? We value youth, and we value the fact that she can have children and give you children so that you can obviously have a legacy and for future. But now if she's the medically at age 35, after 35 it becomes geriatric pregnancy, and the ability for a woman to become pregnant drops, not from 35, even from 30. It drops every year. She gets older, it drops. And a man, you've probably seen Hugh Hefner, whoever else, they can have sex until 70, as far as they, like you said, if they look after themselves, they will be able to still have, whether the woman is 40, 30, 25, 50, with no lie. If she is 20, from the age of consent to at least 35-ish as being the norm, then her ability to give children to that man obviously is up to that period, and after that it becomes lesser and lesser. So I'm going to give it back to you guys and say, how can you say that the sexual market value is the same at 40 when her ability to give that man the children drops, and by 40 is also as dropped completely. And the second thing is, don't you think that by the age of 40, the fact that men have a certain amount of bodies, sexual partners, compared to a woman having a certain amount of bodies, sexual partners, also affects your decision making, and saying that their sexual market value is not the same? Because
I don't know about the other guys, but I have, you are one of the few, say one out of the 100 guys that I've spoken to with regards to choosing a woman, that they have considered that, or one of the reasons is that they can bear their children. I don't think that is in the four, or one of the top 5 reasons why, or what a man looks for in a woman. Maybe at the,
so if you say, so you're telling me that men are getting married, and whether the woman can give them kids or not, that's optional.
I won't say it's optional, but I won't say it's one of the top 5, and I'll even be bold to say I don't think it's one of the top 10 reasons.
No,
Yeah, I don't think it's a
I'll
deal
disagree
breaker.
with you.
Some men will say it's a deal breaker, but me personally, I wouldn't, because I would be like, okay, firstly looking for companionship, because what are you looking at with this thing? Are you looking for a lifetime partner? Looking someone we can build something with, whether it be family, life, home, all those things. What you're looking for. Sorry. So I wouldn't say that it's a deal breaker. I would say that is what you are actually wanting. It's not your. Some men will be like, okay, fine, I need to find a woman, no matter the age. With today's science, it's okay. It's easy. We can. It's gonna be a bit. It's gonna be a bit tougher, but there is ways and means. And if we financially okay with spending that money, and you're okay with going through the process, let's do this. It's also putting pressure on your partner. And then what if it fails? Like your relationship can break down. So if that's why I said, if that is your number one thing, you should put it out at the beginning.
Yeah.
And if
but don't you think that's, but I understand personally that's your opinion, but I'm saying, do you think from men's viewpoint in general?
No, I don't think so.
That they that marry, and after years of being on the dating market, living their life, doing what they want to do, decide, you know what, obviously if I want to have kids, I'm gonna have to settle, choose someone, build something with her, and then obviously have kids with her. Don't you saying that also having kids is not part of a man's?
When you are dating and you're at, let's say you age 25, you're reaching 30, and you start using the dating scene, then okay, cool, I haven't had kids yet, I'm still trying to settle get myself sort myself out, get myself settled before I think of wanting to take on that. Yes, then you know what you're looking for. you should know when you've reached, oh, I'm me as a man, I'm 35. I'm close to 40. I haven't found a partner who can do that. Are you actually going to be okay with being a 43, 44-year-old dating a 25-year-old just to have a child? Is that going to be your purpose? You know what I mean? Whereas you actually want to get someone that's on the same wavelength as you, on the same page that you are at. You might find somebody at that age. That's personal preference, but you should have at least settled, or if you haven't, your expectations shouldn't be up there thinking, okay, cool, 40-year-old should be.
So, okay, so if we talk about viewpoint and what I've learned so far, and kind of being in the manosphere and understanding the fact as to how women look at men and what they value and what they want out of them to be able to kind of like get what they want, because they got to a point now, I want to settle down. But don't you find that females that decide that they want to settle down, and men saying, you know what, I don't want to be with a younger, if the person is 10 years older. I mean, the normal average age is where the partner's always got 4 to 5 year difference between them. That's more or less a normal.
That's okay.
Gap for a man to be older 4 years, 3 years than the partner. But and that is normally when they are younger, the 29, 30-ish age, that they find each other, and that is a good time for them to obviously then work together and grow together. Yeah. But if you find a female that is not committed to a guy, do you think both of them are getting an equal deal? When a 40-year-old guy has established himself, right? He knows where he's going, and he decides he wants to take on someone. You're saying he should take someone that is 40 as well, his age and his wavelength. But that doesn't mean if the lady is 40.
I'm not saying it's wave.
Okay.
I'm just saying the expectation shouldn't be on, especially now. What if he clicks with a 40 with a woman his age, right? And it's there. That's the action. He's like, why haven't I met her 10 years ago? Type of feeling, and you'd be like, oh, now you're sitting in a situation where like we both want, but we can't have because of this too late.
Yeah, but the question then again goes back to, what do you want? Although there's a connection, or if there's a connection, what do you want? The reason why you are now off at the age of 40, you are now wanting children, and you are not going to be looking at starting a relationship with a 40-year-old, because you know off the bat that the chances for her to be able to give you a child is slim to none. I'm just talking facts now. You understand? So I'm saying,
okay, I understand what you're saying, and then I'm saying personally, for me, if I must be in that situation, I would not want to go, because now, for example, I'm sorted. I will feel I'm being taken advantage of if I do have a 25-year-old having a child with a 25-year-old, because I don't know the maturity level the person's going to be.
Now, I'm not advocating. Look, I'm not advocating
no.
any position.
I'm just
having the discussion.
I know what you're saying.
That if a man is wanting to get, if a man is getting, so my question is, if he gets a 40-year-old and he gets a 20, whatever, 25, 27, 28, 29, whatever, and she's obviously still in a physical prime when it comes to her ability to have children, because that is the prime, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, if you want to have kids, why are you dating someone that's 40 and compared to and not being able to get that, and actually opening the door to date someone that's 40 and going through that journey? If you know this is not where I'm supposed to be, I need to actually, if I want what I want, I'm going to get a female that's a bit more agreeable. And as a 40-year-old is obviously going to be set in their ways. The same token, a man is set in his ways, and the female that's set in her ways. Why are you going to want to settle for having someone that might be very combative and telling you what they want, and they're not going to budge? And also have the added issue of having someone that won't be able to give you the kids. And on top of that, you're also going to be sitting with her past demons at the fact that she might be having, by the age of 40, 100 bodies stacked under the bed.
Okay, so let me just jump in here. Okay, geez. Okay, so
that drink just popped up.
I have a problem with a few things here, because firstly, we are labeling a 40-year-old woman as just another thing, like she's infertile. She had a lot of bodies. And
no, I'm not labeling. No. Just correct. I wanna correct you. I'm not labeling. I'm merely stating facts. I know, and I'm not pushing down and saying that she is because she's 40, she is a bad person or she is worth less or whatever. All I'm stating are the facts. My question is, are those not the facts? And explain to me why. Yeah.
So I don't think so. You're saying that every 40-year-old had, say, 50 bodies, and that is not facts. So we don't know all 40-year-olds. We have 40-year-olds that had one relationship and they were just unlucky, and they focused on their career. We have 40-year-old virgins. That is a serious generalization, and I think it's a bit unfair. That is the first thing about the 40-year-old woman with lots of bodies. The second thing is that being infertile and not being able to produce also, especially in the day and age, and Quinton has mentioned this as well, there is possibilities that they can have kids. If you're going into a relationship just to have kids, then you are basically taking whatever else love.
No, you're not
actually building a relationship
exclusively saying that you only want that. I mean, no one goes.
No, I get that.
So that should, if that is what you want, and it's part of what you want, the other things also come along with it, but it is a requirement.
But that comes. Okay, so that conversation happens when you guys are together and you say, listen, are we gonna have kids? Maybe we try and we have problems. Listen, it's not gonna happen. But we still want to be together. Our relationship is built on love. So whatever else, the aspects of kids, if you can't have kids, go adopt, buy a dog, whatever. The thing is this: why are you in the relationship? Is to be together and build on from there.
So my question is why?
I don't like the. Okay, let me just finish. Okay. So I don't like the fact that we want to praise a guy that's a 40-year-old, but we want to burn down a woman that's a 40-year-old.
Yeah.
And I feel like they are two human beings and they both deserve the respect, because she is working hard and built herself as well. She could have had one relationship and she could still be fertile, but we're just assuming that that's not a possibility. But a guy is now hitting his prime because he can still have kids, but he could be an ass.
70, yeah. Exactly.
So I just feel like
let me explain.
It's an unfair comparison.
Again,
I'm sorry, man. Listen, I just have about five minutes.
Okay, I'll wrap it up. No worries. So again, when I say what I'm saying, I'm not saying what I'm saying because I'm trying to create a point. All I'm just saying is the facts. And if I'm saying that for the chances of a 40-year-old woman having kids is slim to none, that is not me making up something to make her look anyway. That is the facts. When it comes to medically, that is the facts. And when it comes to saying that a woman that's 40-year-old in today's day and age that has not married or had children, to say that they are these virtuous women that we need to, and they are just this poor innocent people that standing by at the fact that they've got a unfair deal. You are forgetting the fact that they were 20, and in their 20s they rejected all those rejections we were talking about earlier. Their levels of rejection because they were in the prime. You too short, you too fat, you too whatever.
That's an assumption, eh? That's an assumption.
I'm saying
you like your assumptions. You like your assumptions, eh?
That is exactly it. And
are you guys telling me? Okay, so question: are you guys telling me that a woman that at 40 that is now saying all these wonderful things that she is. I'm not disrespecting in any way. I'm just saying, you're telling me that this entire world that we're living in, we have all this virtuous woman. And again, it's coming back to that pedestalization. And actually, just before you guys click off, I want to just share my screen one more time. And I want to actually share an excerpt from the Rational Male's book again. Can you guys see it? I'll just read it quickly. Can you guys
Is
see
this
it?
called the Book of Assumptions? Is this where you get all your assumptions from?
Well, the thing is that I want to stick to facts and not feelings. And I want to actually read this because a lot of when you do mention facts and it paints women in a bad light or not in a flattering light, then you do get to the point of being told that you're not respectful. But I'm just mentioning, and my point that I was making earlier was to say that as a man, you need to understand your value. That's the point that I was trying to make. So just to read this quickly, it's from the Rational Male Preventative Medicine. Prior to technologies that could evidently prove women's sexual exploits, the more visceral aspects of a woman's sexuality and the inconvenient hindbrain hormonal prompts that motivate them could be kept secret well enough to deceive men with provisioning potential to commit to long-term security. As the technology to record this becomes more ubiquitous, more permanent and fluid in its use, and as men become more interconnected by it, rationalizing that evidence past indiscretion becomes more of an imperative for women. So what it says is, because of the event of technology, women are on TikTok, they're on Facebook, they're on IG, and we all know the terms of IG models. We all know the TikTok stars. They are showing their nature and more exposing that, and more men are now seeing from the outside in, seeing how they conduct themselves. So
can I just jump in there? What basically is, women can't do it, but men can do it. And I totally disagree with that, because if women wants to do and have body count, that's up to them. Because if men do it, nobody talks about it. But why must it be a topic of conversation when a woman has
can I tell you why?
a body count? Why?
The reason why is that, again, we as men and women, we do not look at each other, and what attracts men to women and women to men are different. You cannot tell me honestly, if you're saying that it doesn't matter woman's body count, but my question is, are you gonna wife up and marry a woman that's got a body count of 100, and you know that her entire life has been online, and she showed everyone that she is this IG model that is up for partying and living the best life, and now she tells you at 38 to 40, you know what, I'm done, I want to be serious now, and I want to settle down. Are you telling me honestly? Are you telling me honestly you're gonna say, you know what, I believe you, and I'm gonna take you on, and we can have a good relationship, and we can actually see to take it forward?
Yep, I do believe that. I believe it happened. I've seen it happen before. I've seen.
So you say, okay, so you believing the classic, you can turn hoe into a housewife.
Sorry, man. I hear my mommy calling me. She said I must switch the TV off.
Okay, cool. Can I just read this last part just to close it off?
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Men saturated and conditioned over the better half of their lifetime by the feminine imperative to be the convenient cuckolds to women's hypergamy. Men like my friend in this confession have an ego invested interest in presuming the woman they pair with will be giving him the best of herself. Once his ships comes in and all of his patience and equalist beliefs finally pay off, which means he's bought the chocolates, has done everything he believes he should get, and he now finally gets that woman that says she wants to commit. Only men like this discover too late, usually well after they realize their commitment has hamstrung their SMV peak potential, that not only have they been a retroactive cuckold, sometimes moralistically proud to be so, but they've been socially conditioned to be one by their mothers, their emasculated fathers, their sisters, female friends, teachers, and the whole of the feminine imperatives of effort for most of their lives. So the influence that we get from school, from just the social input to say that we need to be more in touch with our feminine side, all those type of influences telling us that you need to stop being so masculine and you need to be, and being masculine is something wrong. All those things that we are shunning, those are the things that is still, women are not changed, they have changed when it comes to what they are saying, but instinctually, they are still the same, and the same things that has attracted them back then are still the same things that attract them now. They are only doing and saying what they're saying to get out of the marketplace what they need. And sometimes there's certain guys that become suckers in being the guy that goes through, commits, and then finds out that she has slept with 3, 4, 5 different people. So
That shouldn't matter.
yes, but what I'm saying is that there shouldn't be this pedestalizing to the point where there isn't a reciprocal type of thing. But Kevin seems to be NC. He wants to go. Thanks for joining us, sir.
No problem.
Last point.
I'm finishing.
Last
I'm finishing
point
it off. I'm finishing it off by 5 posts.
I just got stuck on this one superlative here. I don't know if you guys remember primary school, but it looks like it says very old as cuckold. Is that what it is here?
No, not in the Afrikaans, not in the Afrikaans sense. A cuckold is a guy that is someone that he doesn't want to upset him. He doesn't want to upset anyone. He's the nice guy. He doesn't want to make any waves because he doesn't want to stand out so that he might be perceived as someone that he's got an opinion for himself. He rather follow the social norm. He doesn't maybe want to get married, but because society tells him that is what you need to do, and you need to take that girlfriend, and you now need to get married, he does what he believes society tells him. That is kind of like what the cuckold is, someone that goes with the prerogative, but he doesn't stand up for himself and live his own life.
And thanks for this platform and thanks for the opportunity. Greg, nice meeting you. Nice seeing you again, Quinton.
Nice meeting you too.
I'm gonna drop in when I do upload this video. I'm gonna drop in some comment in the comments. I'm going to, at least in the description field, I'm going to drop a few links to other videos that relates to the conversation that we were having, so that everyone that is also following the conversation can also go to other content creators and see more or less when it comes to understanding women's hypergamy, what that means, understanding what SMV means, and SMV is sexual market value. So the things that I mentioned earlier when it came to a 40-year-old woman wasn't to degrade them or to put them down or disrespect them. It was just to illustrate and show men that in today's day and age, if you are a young man, obviously in your 20s, you have to work to get it. We as men, we have to work to be able to get to our value, to be valuable to the to females. But females get born with their value, and once they hit 18, they can use that value to leverage things from men. These are the truths about life, and whether we like it or not, those are the facts. They do use it.
All the assumptions of life.
Look, at the end of the day, you can call it. I think more.
I like Kevin. Kevin, I like you.
I think Kevin is more deflecting than to admit that it actually is the truth. And if you want to say it's an assumption, I'm gonna challenge you back and tell you, you know what? We can have another. You guys free or willing to obviously have another discussion and do some more research on these terms. I'm gonna mail you guys this actual sheet, and you guys can do some more research. So once we do the next call in a month's time, or maybe in a fortnight's time, if you guys are free, and then we can discuss it and go into a bit more detail, because these are the types of things that we don't talk about as men. And like I said, there's a certain level of, we just follow things as believing that that is the way it should be, but my channel and the platform that I want to create and expand on is to have conversation, to challenge what the social norms is, so that men can understand there is other ways that they can go about things and not just follow what everyone is doing.
Yeah.
And if it works,
Okay.
for them,
Can I just end off with this comment? So the reason why I focus so much on assumptions is because before we can move on to truth, you have to first identify your assumptions. You first have to identify your wrong type of thinking for you to actually change that, because you're not going to change your thinking if you haven't identified your wrong type of thinking. That is, if you are in that path of changing.
And what I would want to just ask you guys is, I get what you're saying, Kevin, but I was also going to say is we need to start basing things more on what the facts are and what are the realities of life. At the fact that we can say, and we can all obviously have an opinion, but if it is fact based and it's based by data, and we can prove that, then surely we need to reconsider our stance on certain things where we believe something that we were taught and grown up as to thinking that was the way.
But with that said, if we are saying this is facts, then we need to present the facts. We can't say this is facts and say, but this is the facts. It's not the facts. We need to be able to say, present the facts and not depend on this one guy that is saying this. That is his opinion also. So if you're saying this is the facts for the foothills, for instance, let's provide that facts and say, this is actually the data where it came from, and these are the facts on it. So then we can have a honest conversation and say, you don't believe me, but let me share my screen, because then we can then have, then there was research done, and not just
we pass that stage of just one person's opinion, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, definitely.
Good night, guys.
Cheers, Kevin. So I'm ending it off now. So thanks, Quinton, Greg, and Kevin for joining. I'm definitely going to just take you guys up on that offer and put together a bit more data and bringing that and presenting that across to you guys, so that we can obviously have a more in-depth discussion come next time around. And I'll see to check and make sure that Michael can join us. I'll have a few other guests that I also want to add to the discussion. So we might not just be 4. We'll probably go up to 6 to 7, and have a discussion as to when it comes to health, wealth, relationships, and dating. And I want to actually cover a bit more when it comes to health and wealth next time, as to certain things and the way we as men need to look at what the markets are saying and change and adapt to what is happening when it came to COVID, how we needed to adapt and change how we approach making money, having revenue streams, and making a living in today's day and age. Cover things like that, but also for future discussions.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Thanks, buddy.
Guys, thank you very much. I'll definitely be in touch with you guys, and we can chat further on the next call. Cheers.
Oh, yeah.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, man.
Cool.
Cheers.
Bye.